What's going on?
Yo, Holocult, what's up? So this is going to be our new kind of extra content show. I think we're going to see how it goes here. We'll do this every chance we get. Eventually, further into the episode, we will open up some open lines. So it should be cool. Hope you guys all have a bunch of weird shit in store. Stoked for that. Yeah, we're going to do this whenever we have time. I figure this is a good engagement. Eventually, we will finally get it to all platforms that StreamYard allows. Right now, we're just on YouTube. We'll try to run it through Facebook and Instagram eventually, but we're just kind of testing it out today. We had a little block of time open tonight, and schedule fell through, so we figured, let's go.
I'd like to try to make this like a Wednesday night type thing in the middle of the week where we can get together and basically create a live show for everybody. And then I think I said it, I don't remember if it was on Patreon or the normal show, but try to use this as extra content. We're kind of dubbing this the night shift. But I'll end up posting it like the week later on the actual podcast as a bonus content. So if you miss the live, then you can still hear what we talked about and what everybody else chimed in, because we can see all your comments live. Like I said, we can take phone calls. We can do a lot of pretty cool stuff with it. So
yeah,
hopefully it turns out pretty awesome.
I got the YouTube pulled up too, so I can kind of interact with you guys that are commenting. I can't do it through StreamYard, but eventually I will be able to. So if I cut out, it's because my internet is terrible, especially when I'm trying to run 2 streaming services at the same time, because I live in the middle of nowhere. And
well, the weather's a little choppy tonight too.
Yeah, and the weather that should tell you all you need to know, that the weather affects my internet.
Yeah.
Do better, Elon.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'll start off a little bit tonight. I was telling Steve earlier, it's kind of ironic to say the least. I've been working on redoing all the intros to our new intro. So I'm going through the entire backlog and re-editing and all that stuff. So in the meantime, I usually lay in bed and I've been popping on OGX files. And it's just such weird timing, because I've been seeing a lot of people post it about how they've been drilling in the Arctic. Is it Siberia? Somewhere like that.
Somewhere cold.
And they're pulling out the zombie viruses and all these new viruses and stuff. And it just so happened last night, I think it was like episode 7 or 8, somewhere around there, where Mulder and Scully get dispatched to the Arctic, and the people there are drilling deep into the ice, like 3,000 some odd feet, and they find some new virus that infects people and affects them. I mean, almost like a zombie type thing, but not quite. I feel like it'd be more like 28 days later, because it makes them rage and stuff. But it's like this it gets into the blood, turns into a parasite, like a little worm, and then it gets into whatever gland and then just starts wreaking havoc, makes you angry and violent and lash out. And I just thought that was pretty peculiar timing.
I did see the articles about the zombie viruses, and it's not like zombies how we think they would be zombies.
Right.
It's more so in like that the viruses have been dormant and then they're going to wake up kind of like a zombie.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Not like the way we want it 28 days later.
I don't want 28 days later.
No, me either. No
Those
runners.
things are way too fast.
I'm fat. I can't run that fast. So
Bro, I have no stamina. So for me, it'll just be stand there and fight to the death. That's all. That's all it's going to be.
I won't even fight.
I'm gonna think in my head that I'm basically a Spartan of the 300, and I'm gonna stand somewhere and hold my ground, and then just get trucked, just absolutely trucked.
We are the Bruce Willis and Nicolas Cage of our generation, the paranormal world.
Yeah, I feel like we have decent odds for about 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're good for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, we're solid, and then we're done. It's game over.
We're bastard sons of the paranormal.
Yeah,
we're gonna go out. Might as well be fighting zombies or interdimensional beings or musicking demonic entities. I don't know. I'm gonna start doing yoga. I'm gonna hit a sweet chin though.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend the yoga. You don't want to pull a hammy or anything like that. Pull your groin,
no. Especially during a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's no good. That's no good.
I did see an interesting little tidbit of an interview on TikTok, which I should have saved because I didn't get all the information, but I probably should have, but it's worth talking about. So this guy was on here and he was getting interviewed and he was talking about an event that took place in 2012, specifically July 24th. 3 CMEs which are coronal mass ejections, shot from the sun, massive, and they were supposed to be direct hits on the earth. Like they were traveling just under the speed of light. They traveled like, I don't know what they said, 93 million miles in less than 14 hours. By all calculations, they should have absolutely obliterated the planet. But
like Armageddon or
like toast.
That's not cool.
Like toast.
See, I was thinking originally when you said that, I was thinking more along the lines of like the Carrington event, where it just kind of like EMP'd the electrical system.
Oh,
but you're talking like way worse, like like just fried the entire planet.
Yes,
cool.
They got so close. This guy said, I can't remember his name. David Adair, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. They got within just a little above 100,000 miles of the Earth, basically between here and the moon. And then they just changed course.
That's weird.
Missed the Earth. The running theory is that there is some sort of unknown ship orbiting the planet, protecting us, or was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it deflected these coronal mass ejections away from the planet in 2012.
That's
calculations are that if they would have hit on July 24th, the last remaining human would have died December 21st, 2012, which is the running date of the Mayan apocalypse.
That's interesting.
How fucked up is that?
That's pretty interesting. I like it though. I like it.
Yeah. I wish I could have, like, it was on TikTok, so it was only like a 2-minute little snippet of the interview.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to find the rest of it. I don't even know who the dude was that was interviewing, but I'm like, all right, that's what we're looking for here.
I totally dig it. I like the idea that for some reason there's an alien spaceship just hovering outside, which is, I mean, it's not the first time we've heard theories like that they're almost constant. And you bring up, it's funny, you bring up UFOs essentially. And I was thinking the other day, and with everything and how weird it is with this quote unquote disclosure and all that garbage, man, the more I sit down and think about it, the more, and this is for me, I'm not speaking for everybody else, but for me, I am way more willing to accept the fact that like what we are being shown per the government could very possibly be human devices. Because the more I sit and think about it, the more I'm kind of like, man, like these extraterrestrials have traveled from God knows where. It could be anywhere within dimensions, space and time itself. And you mean to tell me that our measly little bullshit cameras, unless those extraterrestrials want to be seen, I feel like that's 90% of the time that's when we see them, is when they want us to see them, if that makes sense. Because you
Oh
would
yeah,
have to assume they have some type of cloaking device, right?
yeah. This whole disclosure thing is such a sham to me. Anyway, like the government has all of this evidence, all of these files, all of this video, all of this shit, and they released 3 confirmed videos of just fuzzy, shitty little blips on a radar. Like that's what you're gonna do. That's gonna be our disclosure. It's no wonder nobody's interested in it.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. And then now, to me, disclosure isn't even are they real, because like they are real.
Yeah.
That's not part of disclosure.
Yeah.
Disclosure to
It's not
me
even
would
argued.
be disclosure for me is where are they from and what do they want from us? Why are they
Yeah.
here? That's disclosure to me. All this like confirming that they're here and all this shit, like that means nothing to me. Like are we all of a sudden trusting the government now? They
Right.
said it, so it makes it real.
Right.
Get out of here.
No, I'm with you there. I'm 100% with you. Because there's no point. There's no point in trusting anything that they say. And I mean, look at some of the cases we've gone through, through the podcast itself, how many times they've used disinformation agents to brainwash people, to trick them, to smoke and mirrors. It's all, and that's 90% of what they do. It's just smoke and mirrors.
Oh yeah, dive in to the dumpster fire that is UAP Twitter. Anybody that
No.
makes a point immediately gets discredited by like half of the entire populace over there. If somebody makes an alternate point, they're discredited by other people. It's just like they eat their own young over there. It's ridiculous. It's no wonder if you just spend a day watching the UAP Twitter hashtag, it is no wonder that nobody knows what to believe.
Yeah. And I also find that extremely curious and interesting how every community in itself is willing to implode on itself for I guess the notch on the belt of being right. Because that's the only thing that would make sense, is that people are so vested in their belief of what it is that they don't give a shit about what anybody else has to say about it, which is just amazing to me. That
Yeah,
that they can't even wrap their brain around a new possibility. Because even if you don't believe it, what's the harm in entertaining that thought process? And then say you present something to me and I counterpoint you. It's no different than any debate. I counterpoint you and then you would counterpoint that. And if you can't come up with anything, maybe you start to realize, okay, well, maybe my theory is a little bit off here. Maybe, maybe I do need to look at this from a new angle.
you got to
But
take
instead,
in.
it's just like, let's crucify everybody because I'm right.
Yeah, you eventually get to a point where you have to take other avenues into consideration, or you're
Yeah.
just going to be stuck at a dead end, and that doesn't get anybody anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
I've been
That's no different than looking into anything else.
I've been researching some alien abduction cases, like some weird ones, and I came across one today. I won't get into all of the details, but I will get into one specific part that stood out to me. Whenever this kid was interacting with the gray or the being, he stated that the entity asks him, "Do you know who Lucifer is?" And he says, "No." And then it asks him again, "Do you know who Satan is?" And when the little kid said, "Yeah," he said he remembered it from church. Once he said he acknowledged that he knew who Satan was, then the being started asking him to go with them.
That's weird.
That is weird. It's gross.
That is really gross. And it's so much so that right now I can't process that. Like I can't wrap my brain around like why it inquired about that being or that name, so to speak.
It definitely puts you in a real gray area
Yeah, I
between
mean,
space and hell.
which sucks.
Yeah.
That's not fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting because that would almost, unless it's some type of mind game, that would almost lead credence to the existence of Lucifer / Satan, right? Like
Something. I
that's
don't know.
yeah. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that name is actually is affiliated with a real entity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it kind of solidifies. Like, hey, maybe it is or isn't what we think it is, but regardless, there is something out there that goes by the name Lucifer. 100%.
And I mean, it also sort of kind of pushes toward maybe aliens or demons.
Okay, well, here's another one too. This is kind of fun. What if the aliens have been researching us? And I mean, I'm sure there's a million holes in what I'm about to say, but it could be in the realm of what if they had heard through, whether it's through tapping into our internet, through
Prayer.
whatever prayer, anything. They've heard this name, they've heard Satan, they've heard Lucifer, and so they asked this child, "Hey, do you know who this is?" Because in this theory, the aliens don't know who Satan or Lucifer is, but they are curious as to who this being is. So now this kid says, "Yeah, I have heard of it," and so they're like, "All right, you need to come with us because we need to learn about who this is, how we can get in touch with them, et cetera, et cetera."
Yeah, that one.
And like I said, I'm sure there's a
I thought it
million.
was going to.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
thought it
there's
was
a
going to go
million different.
that Bledsoe Boulevard where it was like trying to play into it. I didn't think that they were like studying up.
Dude, it could be, right?
Yeah.
It totally could be. And to counter that, I mean, not to branch away, but like you've been looking at that. I've been looking into skinwalker cases. And dude, some of the ones that I have read are out of this fucking world. They're so creepy in their own ways because it shows, like, I understand what they are and what they represent. But I think a lot of people, the information that I found, I don't think a lot of people know what I've found on them. And I think it kind of sheds a lot more light on them. And at the same time, like I understand that they came from humans essentially, but the skinwalker itself, in the descriptions that I have found through these great books that I'm going to promote, if you are into skinwalker lore, you should buy these books because they are fantastic. I'm into the first one. There's 3. I'm into the first one, and it's amazing. So many amazing stories in this book, but at least 2 of them that I can remember off the top of my head describe the skinwalker exactly the same. That it's almost like this werewolf style beast. It has this long black wispy hair because they can clearly see that the hair is thin, and as this thing moves, you can see the hair kind of move in the wind, like gets real wispy, And in multiple cases, it said that the skinwalker had glowing yellow eyes, and it so much so that, like in this one case, they were inside a cave, dude. So there's no possible way that it popped off eye shine from any light source. Because this guy was like, these eyes were they somehow they self illuminated.
Oh,
Like they were legit glowing yellow eyes. And he sat there and watched this thing
that's creepy.
come at his wife.
That's creepy.
Dude, it is insane. And there's like this intelligence behind them. And it's with the natives too. They don't want anything in regards to skinwalkers to get out into the public. They like the skinwalker itself. The skinwalker itself will actively take things from people or try to stop people from getting acquired information out to anybody else. Because we all know that the natives, they're hush-hush about it. They're like, nope, I ain't trying to talk about it. I don't want to bring that evil to me or my family or anybody I know, because it's not just bringing the skinwalker to the doorstep. It's also the things that they're capable of doing, like the curses they've put on people. I mean, I read stories in there where they were at a sacred site. Dude saw a medallion hanging in a tree and he snatched it. And his brother was like, dude, you need to put that back. And he's like, no. Like he put the medallion on a chain of his own, started wearing it. He's like, this is my new good luck charm. And dude, he almost died. He got super sick and he ended up calling his brother because they were on vacation thousands of miles away, dude. He's in the hospital on the verge of death. And before he goes into the hospital, he's sitting on like the back patio. And he takes this chain off and he throws it out in the yard or out in the field or wherever. And then he gets super sick, goes to the hospital. Well, his wife goes out there on the back patio and the necklace is sitting on the patio table.
Hell no.
Yeah. And she ends up calling the brother. They talk about it. And she's like, will you please return this medallion? And, of course the brother's going to do it. It's his brother, right? So he drives over, gets the medallion. Dude drives the 1,000 miles or however many miles back to this site, returns the pendant, and the next day his brother is out of the hospital.
That's weird,
isn't it? It's insane.
It's almost
the stories
like
are crazy in those books.
It's almost like they have tulpic energy, where Native Americans and First Nations people do not want it getting out, because almost like the more that people put their thought and their energy into it, maybe the more powerful these things get.
Dude, it could lead credence to, because they won't even say the name.
Yeah,
they won't even say the name.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, dude, like I'm excited to present these episodes because, like, I'm serious, man. These books are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Because this husband and a wife, they're big into like Bigfoot, like that's their main go-to, and they ended up getting a submission one day about this creature. And at the end, because the guy submitting doesn't even know what it is either, but he's like, I'd heard that it's a skinwalker. And this husband and wife, have never heard of the skinwalker. So they start looking into it. Don't pay it a whole lot of mind, but they're curious. Then they get another submission of a skinwalker. And so they're like, all right, well, if we're getting 2 and 3 of these submissions, there's got to be something to this. So they start reaching out, and they ended up reaching out to medicine men. They were able to come in contact with medicine men from tribes. I think one of them was on the Navajo reservation, and they actually got to go to the reservation and sit down with this guy and have a conversation about it. And I'll get into it in the episode, but he takes many, many precautions.
I'm stoked
to present. Oh, dude, it's so cool. So cool. I read that book. Like, I almost finished it in one day because I got sucked into it.
I'm stoked. Yep. Just gonna take some time to talk about the chat here. The chat's been popping off. I'm so glad you guys are all with us. All of you hanging out. Aaron, we are gonna try to get this top chat figured out. I guess there is a way that they can donate.
I have no idea.
We don't have it set up because we don't know what the book we're doing.
No, I just paid for this tonight, and I'm kind of learning everything on the fly. So
we'll get it figured out eventually. That's kind of
yeah,
like Kenneth said. That's kind of the hollow cult way, just winging it, and that ain't that the damn truth.
but cow.
That is the facts. A lot of people have been commenting, like Burton from Local Legends is in here. Everybody go check out his channel.
For
He says,
sure.
I'm sure aliens have been studying us for a long time. I totally agree.
Oh yeah.
Kenneth is in here too. He says they've clearly been present watching us for eons. 100%. If we're not their science experiment, I'll eat my shoe.
You're gonna eat a shoe?
If I'm wrong, prove me wrong.
Okay.
Burton says, my father was doing some construction work when I was a kid and they dug up some Native American jewelry. One of the workers took it. My dad told him to leave it and he didn't listen. Same day, dude got his hand smashed under some equipment, almost lost his finger. He then put the jewelry back. Aaron says, everything is connected. Grew up in Alton, right up the road. Right up the road.
That is crazy about the what Burton put over, because man, I'm not trying to sound like a skis bucket, but it would be hard. Like if you was just working and just happened to see a ring laying there, or a pendant unaffiliated with, obviously, a burial ground would be an exception. But if you just found it, it just is, has no other ties other than maybe a cool looking pendant. How would you not want to be like, hey, this is really neat? Like I want to keep this.
Yeah. Aaron says it's called Super Chat.
Super Chat.
All right, we'll have to look into Super Chat.
Yeah.
On that note, my uncle was building a house, actually, and when they were breaking ground, they came across some ancient signs of like provenance there, that people had lived there before. Instead of taking any precautions, they just kind of pushed it and buried it out of the way. Didn't really like say anything, just kind of like just put it over to the side, buried it, built his house. It was almost immediate. Weird shit started happening almost immediately. My oldest cousin, when he was a toddler, just starting to talk, he would always talk about the man with the bear head would walk up and down the hallway. He said it was just a shadow that had the head of a bear. He said the shadow would build fires underneath their dinner table. He
Did he feel like it was malicious at all?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Like,
But
because
I'm not sure.
I'm trying to like put myself in his shoes, and like being outside that story, like I just smile and I'm like, that's fucking cool. That's super
And
cool. Like, you know how wild that would be to see a shadow figure walk down your hallway with a bear head?
Oh, dude, it gets
And
weirder.
then it says fires underneath your table.
Not like real fires.
I know,
But,
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. But it gets weirder. So his mom, my uncle's ex-wife, loved the Winnie the Pooh. She had these little stuffed Winnie the Pooh, like 8-inch figures that she sat in a rocking chair. And she was in cooking dinner, and my cousin was just sitting on the floor watching television. She comes out, and he's still sitting in the exact same spot watching his program. And the Winnie the Pooh figures are stacked on one on top of one another in the chair, standing straight up, almost like a totem pole. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. So they kind of wrote it off as my cousin's just, childhood imagination.
Yeah,
So
I would do the same.
They were having a party one night, and they had a bunch of friends in the living room playing some board games and shit. My uncle looks down the hallway, and he says, "No shit, I shit you not." He said, "I saw the shadow of the man." He said, "I think it was a buffalo head. I don't know that it was a bear, but I can see how it'd be easy to get the two confused." He said it moved right up the hallway. He said, because I had a nightlight down there for my cousin's room. He said it moved up and it turned and it went into the dining room.
Dude, that's crazy. That is so crazy. Like I said, sitting outside that story, I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. Because especially if there's no malicious intent. Like if it's all just kind of like I'm here vibes. But at the same time, I guess you don't necessarily know. But I don't know. It's a cool story.
I
That's pretty wild.
I have a lot of ancient artifacts in my house, and when I was growing up, I don't do it so much anymore, but I used to preserve them all the time. And I have these big granite grinding bowls, right? That they used to use to crush corn and other different things in, and the whole like just a big piece of granite, and it's got a big like concave dip in it. And when I was in high school, I came home one day and all my grinding bowls were on the front porch. And I'm like, why are these out here? They don't like, I took the time to get them home, to get them out of the weather so they don't, just disappear with history. And my dad is sitting in the recliner and he's like, I was taking a nap. I woke up with war drums. So I put them outside. I'm like, all right, then. Copy that.
Oh, that's crazy, man. I've heard World War drums before, but I don't know if it was in my head or not. I was young and I was out playing with my BB gun. And I remember being way back in the woods and I just heard sound like beating drums, but it reminded like, because I am where I am in life, I mean, what I would equate it to is like the Jumanji sound. You know what I'm saying? So
you're just waiting for a rhinoceros stampede to roll through the
right.
forest.
And all I have is my BB gun. But I remember running. I mean, I took off running back home. But the point I'm trying to make is it was so long ago. I don't know if I'd seen Jumanji yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have easily been my imagination running, right? Or it could have easily been something else. Because we're essentially in the Great Plains where, I mean, you find artifacts all the time.
Yeah, it's people have lived here for probably longer than we even know.
Right, exactly. So it's hard telling, but I mean, I wish I could verify for everybody if it was real or not.
Yeah, it's a weird world, man.
Yeah.
Shauna said stand up and show off the new merch.
I have to take my hoodie off.
Oh, dang.
Sorry, I will in a second. Patrick F is making fun of me for saying Giza.
Patrick, come on. We're trying our best, bud.
I can't read, dude. You know what I meant. It is what it is.
How do you know the Egyptians didn't call it Giza?
They did. I did. I know.
I read the hieroglyphics and it said Giza.
I love
science, bud. Science.
And BPD 1976.
Buc-ee's merch.
Yeah,
not
there
sponsored
you go.
by Buc-ee's.
Sean
also
will be
not
stoked.
Sponsored by Casey's. So
BPD says he appreciates us doing a live. This has been in the works for a while. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. I've talked to Steve about it, being able to take phone calls and stuff like that, which we can do. I can pop the phone number up here in a minute, and if somebody wants to call in and talk, you're more than welcome to. We figure time wise, we're going to try to run for at least an hour when we do this, maybe two if things get a little crazy. It just kind of depends on how the night goes. But yeah, like I said, it's fun. Like I'm already enjoying this.
A lot. I love that the chat's live.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's kind of live to me. I've got the YouTube up, and the YouTube travels faster than my StreamYard chat because my internet just does whatever it wants to do, lives its own life.
Yeah.
So I'm like popping back and forth. Some comments will load on the YouTube, but they won't load on the StreamYard, so I'm trying to follow them, and I don't even know where I'm at right now.
Didn't you bring this up to me at one point?
Hitchhiker effect?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could have swore you mentioned that to me.
BPD, what's the hitchhiker effect? Let's talk about it. Have you heard of the Euphrates River drying up? I have heard about it, but I did not look into it. So I'm not sure what is going on with that. If it's some kind of prophetic thing where like,
gross.
It's the end times, dog.
No, I'm sorry I cut you off, but that Cody Gore there.
Oh yeah, I just saw this. Cody
Yeah,
Gore. I'm gonna read these because when we post this
that's
as an
pretty creepy.
as an extra episode, people won't be able to read the chats. So I know it's random, but dipping back to your pilot episode where Steve was carrying his kid into the house and he saw the glowing green skeleton people, I actually had sleep paralysis episode where I woke up and 3 glowing green people were standing in my room. Kind of gave me chills when I heard you talking about it. Yeah, I still don't know what to make of that, honestly. Luckily, he was so little that he doesn't quite remember it.
That's probably for the
Thankfully,
best.
but he does listen to the show, so he'll come and ask me questions like, "Yeah, did that really happen?" Like,
I just tell him no. I lied about it.
yeah, I'll be like, "Don't worry about it. It's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a fake
Swear.
story. I'm just
Don't worry
chasing
about it."
clout, bud. I'm just chasing clout.
It is weird to have other people like affirm that that's a real thing.
Yeah,
What else
yeah.
we got
I'm not
here?
trying to see no glowing men.
Kyle Burton needs that merch.
Yeah, son.
Well, you guys need to tell our lawyers to hurry the
Hurry up.
fuck up.
Yeah, I'm about to reach out to a new set of lawyers
Get the LLC
because
going so we
they're
can get a
taking
bank
way too
account
long.
so we can sell merch.
Yeah, I want to be able to sell merch too. So in due time, my friends, in due time, I'm always having people ask about the merch aspect. We're just trying to do it right so we don't get caught up in some BS. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
We're trying right now. We're just transferring it out of our own accounts, and we're just getting hit over and over and over
Yeah.
and over and over again. So we're just trying to hold off till we get everything square.
Right.
Just thought it was a bad dream or something, but then I heard the episode and it tripped me out. Yeah, it is weird hearing other people have the same experience that he had. I still don't know what to make of it. He was absolutely terrified.
Oh, do you blame him?
Internet says hitchhiker theory is a theory that paranormal or extraterrestrial creatures can transport themselves to your home from any spot. Oh, I believe that.
Gross.
100%.
Gross. But yeah,
100%.
I could see that totally. I'm gonna have to look into that more because that sounds cool.
Like I was saying, I was looking into these weird alien abduction cases, and this dude, classic alien abduction story. He's driving his car, sees a light, gets out. It essentially picked up his whole car, right? Like the craft came down, and this almost like this what's the word I'm looking for? This lift picked up his whole car, and as soon as it pulled him into the craft, he woke up outside of his car, looking at his town. He was right outside of town, but everything in his town was from 10 years earlier. So this happened in the 60s. All the cars were from the 40s and 50s. He said nothing, like all of the renovations and upgrades to the town that had happened in the last 10 years weren't there. Almost essentially traveled him back in time. And then he snapped out of it and woke up right next to his car, and everything was back to normal again. So not only can they transport us through space, but possibly transport us through time. Which brings up another question. Curious to everybody that's in the chat. Why do like 90% of missing time cases happen in cars? Did you ever think about that?
Good question. No, I haven't.
Like,
that's a good question.
Like almost everyone you read about.
Because you would think logically, if they're intelligent and don't want to be caught, that would be a piss ass way. You know what I'm saying? Because on a road, you're almost always liable to run into somebody else, right? Whereas if you were like in the comfort of your own home, the possibility, I mean, you could just not be caught, because if you lived alone, nobody would know the difference.
Is it something about the vehicle, the running engine? It's just like, I don't know, but the more I saw the question posted on Twitter, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, damn, that really does almost everyone you hear about, somebody is in a car or getting out of a car, and they end up with missing time.
That is weird. That's definitely weird. But I don't.
Actually, the alien
I
abduction.
can't think of anything.
The alien abduction story with the one with the boy that the aliens asked Lucifer. He was in the woods. He wasn't in a car, but in his mind, the aliens only had him, or the entities only had him for 20 minutes, but he was missing for 2 days. When he got home, his parents were losing their mind because he's like, Dad, I've only been gone less than a half an hour. He's like, no, you've been gone for 2 days. We've been looking for you for 2 days. And he just showed right back up.
I don't even know what I would do. Like, imagine being told that. Imagine being told that.
Oh, damn. Okay, this chat's popping off over here. People who participated in the Skinwalker Ranch brought both Dogman and Shadow people back home to their families. Fuck that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Ghost Hunter Dave said, certain entities can and will attach themselves to you when you go poking around. Burton, it could be carbon monoxide situation leaking into the car. Or maybe aliens just enjoy American muscle cars. It's always
Burton,
a lonely road, too.
I think you're onto something with the American muscle cars. As long as it's like the 70s Chevelle, then we're straight.
Yeah, you're going to be abducted.
It is what it is. I mean,
it's just
all good things come with a price.
Has anyone had a Native American with a wolf face hat and red war paint looking through their window? I have not. I think Cryptids of the Corn had some similar idea with something coming off the fertilizer. There was a 411 case where a guy was missing for 3 days, but he thought he'd only been lost a few hours. You guys rock. Just stopping in to say I'm proud of y'all. Well, thank you.
Thank you, big dog.
We're proud of all of you for hanging out with us for this long.
Yeah, no doubt. Been 40 minutes already.
My missing time was in a car. I think when driving, it takes you longer to realize the monotony of driving those dark roads. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
That's a good point.
Probably less weighing on your mind than if you're at home doing something.
Well, and how many times have you been driving and you get so hypnotized by the road that you're like, oh man, did I stop at that stop sign back there?
You know, I drove 30 minutes past my exit going to work one day. I didn't realize until I was 30 minutes south that I drove right past my exit.
Right.
What do y'all think about the 411 UFO connection? I am going to watch it when it comes out.
Oh, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, I think it drops. Has it already dropped? Drops this. If it didn't drop this week, it drops next week.
Well, I know what I'm watching.
I'm curious because David Paulides has spent all this time not connecting 411 to any specific paranormal subject. He always left it open-ended. And calling this documentary the UFO Connection kind of takes that away.
That's true.
I am interested. I've seen a lot of people start debunking a lot of his cases. I don't know that it's any fault of his own. I think that he wrote that first book and it was sort of a cash cow. So he just went with it. And a lot of these cases, a lot of these cases are weird. There are a lot of missing people that have no explanation. But there also are a lot of cases in his Missing 411 series where the people are found, they are okay, they have just ran off. It's almost like he or his researchers found the case where the person goes missing and then they stop their research right there. Person's missing. It's weird. One and done. Put it in the book. I am curious.
Dude, that could be a plethora of reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like him overlooking that anyways. There's so many things because You know, and don't get me wrong, like there's that part of you that wants to sit there and throw shade and talk shit. But being that we're kind of in the same field now, you kind of step back and look at life through a different lens. I mean, he could have seen it and then not found anything on it for even 2 days. And then like, all right, this fits the criteria. And then 2 days later is whenever this person got found. But he he can't keep tabs on every single individual case 24/7.
Yeah, but a lot of his cases are old. Like all you would have to do,
Okay.
like there was a person that went missing, disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and then 2 days later on the same newspaper, there are articles like, "Oh, hey, he just ran off with his
Right.
mistress."
Well, yeah. Yeah, and like you said, it could have been just, I hate to say it, financially backed. I don't want it to be that at all. You know.
And I mean, I've had some interactions with the guy here and there, and he just got a way about him.
He definitely wanted to stab us at Crypticon.
He was eyeballing us quite a bit.
Yeah, really hard.
He doesn't like being questioned. He doesn't like anybody throwing any theories at him. For the longest time, he had wanted to just kind of stay in this weird gray area where like he presents all these weird cases, but if you try to look into him, he's like, do your own research, figure it out. I'm just presenting the facts.
Yeah,
well, you can't.
He gets a little too forward with that shit.
Yeah, when you use words like predator and like super predator and shit, like you're kind of driving a narrative there. You're not in a gray area.
That's true. And when we were at Crypticon, he did a speech on Bigfoot as well. How he's been looking into Bigfoot. You know, because half of it was the 411, and then the other half of his.
That's what he started his research was the Can-Am Bigfoot project.
Oh, really?
And then that led him into this missing 411 stuff.
Right on. I don't know a lot about the guy. I wish he was a little bit more personable. But
he wasn't even reacting to questions. Yeah, that was what, 2019. He wasn't even reacting to questions from the crowd. Well, just the way he kind of talked to people like they were stupid. It was kind of discouraging, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hope it was just like he has a disconnect from being a police officer for so long. And maybe he just kind of like roughed his edges.
Them boys just popped in here.
What's going on?
From
big fellas.
Appalachian Intelligence.
Yeah, I see them.
Our brothers from another Southern mother just jumped in.
I hope it's Predator.
Me too. Thanks for the shout out on the old Merc the Jerks podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That was a banger of an episode.
Much love.
Hollow Cult Hill folk in the chat.
Starting a movement.
Building a tribe, as they say down south.
Yeah. We just call it a cult.
That's how we do it.
Same thing.
There's one thing I hate about Midwest. It's all the damn cannibals and cults. Can't beat them, join them.
That's right.
That's shit. Right. Kyle's going open lines.
It's popped. Somebody tried calling a minute ago, but
did they?
You were in the middle of telling a story, so I had
keep in mind, everyone, that we only have one line.
Yeah.
So while we're in the middle of a conversation here,
try not to keep going. Because I'm not good with most technology, and I don't know how to shut the noisemaker mode off. I thought I had it off, but I sat here and listened to it pop through, so I'm like, damn it. I didn't get it.
I like that. Holler Colt.
That is clever. I enjoy that.
Speaking of which, AI boys, are you guys rich yet? Did you find that fucking treasure yet? Come on.
Yeah,
we quit my job, and I can run heavy equipment. I can run excavators and shit. You just point me in the direction. I can't run it good, but I can dig a damn hole.
I can light a fuse.
Kyle can create a bomb out of a roll of toilet paper and a stick of dynamite. Seen him do it.
There's not a whole lot of ingenuity there.
BPD, the number should be scrolling across the bottom of the screen here.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully you guys can see that.
We want some weird shit. We want the weirdest. Hopefully, Egress, if you're listening,
That would
call
be
us.
that would be awesome.
Fucking nerds. Am I allowed to say fuck on YouTube?
Yeah, there's only one way to find out.
Oops.
We get canceled after the first episode.
Yeah. Whatever. Bunch of nerds. Oh, I hope it's weird. I want some of the. I hope the monsters are real. Dude calls in. We're still waiting.
That
bud.
would be fantastic.
The military guy from South America.
Yeah.
He wanted.
Yeah, that would be wild.
He wanted
too.
a secure line. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I just told him, yeah, we have one.
Yeah, we're good. You're square. Don't worry about it.
We got this. We got this. It's a burner phone. They're not tracking nothing.
It's gonna be fine.
We're not cool enough for all that equipment to be coming our way.
No.
Although being in this world, you do wonder a lot more.
Yeah.
Like when the car follows you for 30 minutes straight, every turn, you're kind of like, all right, this is starting to get a little weird.
No, this isn't the same burner we used on Egress. I do have it here, though. Not charged.
Yeah.
I charge it every once in a while just to see. I'm like, come on, send me a message. Just shoot me that text, Egress, please.
Yeah, but nothing.
The OG number off of the flyer is now defunct. It goes to some new. I'm assuming it's been recycled through whatever Google number it is. So I don't know, man.
That's another thing. Me and Steve have been rolling it around as of late. Would that be something you all want? Would be for me and Steve to sit down and completely go through the Egress story and lay it all out on our show from start to finish, every single detail included, everything. Because there's still stuff that we have that hasn't been made public yet. And not that it's like groundbreaking information, but there are keys to it that aren't quite there.
Yeah, and I know that after we essentially had the man that shall not be named his interview on our podcast, we never really talked about it again in any length. We just went on other people's shows.
Yeah.
So I know that
Do you want to take a call?
Oh yeah, roll with it.
Let's see here.
Oh snap!
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Yo, first holo caller. What's up?
Hey, this is Ben. BPD 1976.
All right, what's up, buddy?
Oh hell yeah, what's up?
Hey, not too much, man. I've been listening to y'all for a while. I told my brother about y'all, and we listened to a bunch of y'all podcasts, man. Y'all do some good work, man. Y'all make really interesting podcasts.
That's awesome to hear, man.
Right on. We appreciate you.
That's the truth, man. That's the truth. I'm a Cajun from South Louisiana.
Okay.
And I heard a Sasquatch, but I haven't seen one. But everything that y'all like talk about, man, I'm into that, man.
That's awesome.
What did it sound like? Yeah.
It sounded like a siren, dude.
That's weird. Was it, I assume, in the middle of the night?
Well, me and my dad were fishing for some sakale. We call them sakale. Everybody else calls them crappie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we were night fishing for them because he got a big old he got a deck on the bayou, and he got a big light on there, like a street light. And so we catch a bunch of sakale right there because the whole rest of the bayou is dark. So the street light activates the food chain, right? And the sakale go eat the minnows. But yeah, we fished that, and man, we heard it was crazy, dude. Across the canal, the bayou is just nothing but woods for like about 2 or 3 miles, and we just all of a sudden heard a siren sound, but we heard it a few times, and it changed pitches, and we heard after it stopped, we heard something further away, like answering to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, dude, just like a siren, like an air raid siren.
That's so weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, I know,
Dude,
I know.
that would creep me out. If you was
That's what
out
I was
there
gonna
like in the
say.
middle of the night and just out of nowhere. And especially like if you've been in that area all your life or just even long enough, and you know damn good and well that across the way there's nothing like that over there.
No, dude, there's nothing over there. It's
Right.
only they got a levee on the other side, the bayou, and there's just swamp, dude. It's just a swamp
It
for
just
a long way, like for a couple miles, man.
Dude, that's
it
that's
makes
awesome.
it makes my like blood run cold to think about it because I'm always traipsing around. Me and my kids go late fishing and shit. That's like our area is pretty squatchy here, right here in the Illinois river bottoms and stuff. And one day I was walking out of my mom's house. She lives right in the river bottoms along the bluffs, and it was probably midnight, 12:30. We were just all hanging out, and as I walked out from the bluffs, something was whistling, just 3 notes whistling. And I'm like, that's weird to be in the middle of the night and hear it. So my dumb ass whistles back. And then the whistling pipes up even louder and it starts moving back toward me from the bluff. About that time, my dad steps off the back porch and starts asking, is that you whistling? And I guess it heard 2 of us, whatever it was out there. And then it started making its way further and further away. So I've heard reports that they do the siren sounds, they do the whistling. It's creepy to be out in the middle of nowhere and hear something that you don't have any idea what it is.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, man. But in our we don't have counties. We have parishes in Louisiana. So in our in our parish, they have emergency alerts every like Thursday, the first of the month or something, and it's a siren. So I think that they hear these sirens possibly. I mean, possibly. This is just a theory, and they emulate that.
Oh yeah. I never thought of that, but I dig it because our counties do the same. Like I think it's the first Tuesday of the month, they'll run the storm sirens, and I didn't even think about that they're
Yeah,
hearing it and then they're mimicking it. That's creepy.
yeah. There's
That's
this.
creepy.
There is there is a a, a thing on Reddit right now, Reddit Bigfoot, that they have it's debunked. So there was somebody made a TikTok about like they were pretending to look out their back door, and they took a bunch of Sasquatch, supposed Sasquatch sounds, and put them all together. And but one of them is the siren sound, and it's exactly what I heard. But the thing I heard was a lot longer.
That is
So if you,
wild.
yeah, man, it's crazy. I mean,
My
there's nothing else that it could have been.
no, nothing that would be even close to being mistaken for that, for a siren.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
so wild.
It is wild.
My dad actually, I mentioned this on one of the shows before, but he had taken my boys fishing, and in the back of his truck, he had a 2-pound bucket of stink bait, and he had put a big 4x4 on top of it to keep it in there so the lid wouldn't fly off and shit, and just left it in the back of his truck. Well, he parked there
Yeah.
along the bluffs, and the next day he got up to go out and just screw around, just do whatever. And he started smelling the stink bait. So he went over there and something had gotten into the back of his truck, lifted this giant 4x4 off of the stink bait bucket and taken the stink bait bucket out of the back of the truck over the tailgate, and it was completely gone.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't know if raccoons could do that, but that would be the only culprit outside of something that has two arms and opposable thumbs.
Man, y'all did such a great job with the Bledsoe thing. Wow.
Yeah, that was a wild ride.
That one,
man, that was wow. That was great. That was really great. Y'all have a lot of good shows.
Thank you, buddy.
Y'all really do, man.
We appreciate that, and I think it's awesome that we have the opportunity to sit down here and talk with you, amongst everybody else too. Like, I think that's like that. Like, I'm having so much fun doing this. Like, I'm so glad we decided to just pull this tonight because, like Steve said, we were supposed to interview with somebody, and they ended up canceling, and we were like, whatever, let's just give this a shot. We've been talking about it. Let's try it. And dude, it's awesome. So awesome.
I have a Ouija experience, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. Right,
right on. That's understandable.
Yeah, I can respect that.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. That's nothing to be fucking with,
Yeah,
and you could say that on YouTube a little bit.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah,
you will.
I ain't worried about it.
We'll be all right.
You will. You will. Man, that shit is real.
I believe it. We lived
it. Really is. It really is. Really is.
We've lived it.
All right, fellas. Tell you what. Just wanted to let y'all know that y'all do a great job, and I appreciate y'all's show.
Thank you so much, dude.
Yes, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate you.
No, it's true words, man. It's true words.
Much appreciated.
I dig it.
True words. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna hang up, and I'm gonna just listen to the rest of the show.
All right, brother. I appreciate
you.
Right
on. Stay safe and stay weird out there.
All right.
That was awesome. First HoloLive caller in the books. I didn't even think, like, that just kind of blew my mind. Him stating that maybe they're mimicking like some of the not just human sounds, but like everyday industrial sounds and shit. I didn't even think about that. Think about that.
We got another one.
Oh, yep. Keep them rolling.
Hello.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on?
Not too much. I just happened to be surfing YouTube and came across your channel. I listen to you and Steve all the time on the podcast. I really enjoy the shows you deliver to everybody. Really entertaining, and I love the way you both kind of dissect everything, and you don't necessarily take everything for granted. So thanks for that.
No problem.
Right on. We try to stay as open-minded as possible. Like, we are the first people to tell everybody that we do not know everything or anything.
Anything.
Well, you're open-minded enough, and there's that edge of you don't necessarily accept everything either, which is good. There's a lot of people out there just accept anything that's thrown out to them. So, but anyhow, the reason for my call. Months ago, I sent you a email, and I went by Eric, and that's my middle name, and that's all I'd like to put out there. But it was about an incident I had, and it was about 1979. I was 12 years old, where I knew it was Powhatan County. You have to excuse me; I'm a little bit nervous.
No, you're fine, buddy. Don't worry about it.
But it was not approximately 1979. It was Powhatan County, Virginia. That's sort of like central Virginia area. Really early in the morning, night. It was nighttime. I just got up out of bed. I was almost in a trance. I was in a trance, almost, but I was awake, wasn't afraid, but right there in front of me was a little white alien. It was just the whitest of white you could ever imagine. I was just totally enthralled by how white this creature was. Was not a gray. It was a white alien, and it came up to about my chest. And but anyhow, so it led me out to its craft, and about halfway, the craft was parked about 60 yards or so away from the house. Powhatan County at the time was really rural. I mean, you know, you couldn't see your next door neighbor's lights, you know. But anyhow, it was leading me out. It was right beside me the whole time. And growing up, my parents had these attack dogs. They were part German Shepherd, part Great Dane. Very vicious. And being that it was real rural, you know, they were never chained up there, just kind of let, you know, they could roam, do whatever they wanted. You know, it was never an issue of them running off and attacking somebody. They always just kind of stayed around the house. What was like farm, you know, area. It was more like a wooded area, you know, that I grew up in. But, you know, there were plenty of farms out there as well. But so anyhow, about halfway to the craft, and I could not see the craft from walking at it, you know, walking to it. It was like, it was just totally dark. But halfway there, this alien, through mind speak, told me that its crewmate had died, had fallen ill and died. So, you know, I didn't respond to it. I just took it as fact, you know. It was completely in control of me, you know, and I was more or less just like you know, in a zombie state, you know, totally aware, totally alert, but just, you know, no fear, was just kind of at its command. So as we got to the ship, you know, our backyard was about an acre, open acre, but the craft was parked like right at the edge of the woods in the backyard. It was a small silver circular craft, really brilliant, you know, almost like a gallium or a mercury type metal, but it emitted a light, and that was weird, you know. It was bright and kind of lit up the area, but it was like the light terminated itself, you know. I couldn't see it halfway there. I didn't know it was there until we got right up on it, and it was just bright. So, and as we were walking there, everything was just dead silent, you know. It was summertime out. Typically, you'd hear owls, frogs, crickets, you know, dogs, whatever, you know, just nighttime nocturnal animals making noises, you know. It was that rural of an area. So, but there was nothing. Everything was just deadly silent. Even our dogs, 5 of the dogs we had were nowhere to be around, you know. It was just total silence. So anyhow, am I still connected?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're just intently listening.
So anyhow, the craft was open. It was no door. It was, if you can kind of envision like how a Pac-Man's mouth opened, you know, that's kind of how the craft was open in the front. But inside, I mean, it was just enough room for 2 of those beings. You know, there was no way I would have been able to fit into that craft. It was just almost like that craft was made for them, you know, almost like not an inch to spare in there for anything else. Didn't see any type of controls or anything like that. But anyhow, that alien was kind of slumped to the side. It was white, like the crewmate that was with me. But the weird thing was the hands and about halfway up the forearms were kind of translucent, almost like you'd see like a jellyfish washed up on the beach, you know. So you know, I picked it up. You know, it was very light. I reached in, picked it up. You know, I was carrying it cradled in my arms. You know, not a lot of weight to it. And as we were walking away, the ship actually communicated with me. And it was entirely different than the way the other alien communicated with me. The other one, when it communicated with me, it was like I could hear the words in my head. But this was sort of like a really intense, deep feeling inside me. the way it was communicating, but it kind of conveyed to me that it was sick as well. I don't know if it was dying but that's just kind of what it conveyed. So as we were walking away, that's all I can kind of remember. I have an idea of where it was buried. My mother had a garden in the backyard that was kind of attached to the house. It was like a brick garden, and nothing grew in that damn thing for years and years. I mean, not even so much as a weed. I mean, she, did all types of amendment to the soil, stuff like that. Tried planting all different kinds of plants, and nothing would even grow in it. So, but eventually it just started growing, became real fertile and would grow anything in there. Everything that grew in there was kind of lush. But, I was approximately 12 years old at the time this happened, and it didn't come back to me till I was in about my mid-20s. This incident took place. It was absolutely not a dream. I've had many dreams of UFOs, so I can distinguish, a dream from a recall. So, but, that's pretty much my story on that. So, but,
that's no little story.
Holy smokes.
What?
I remember reading this email, as a matter of fact. And I was just thinking to myself, man, we've got to get this guy on the show. We've got to get this on the show. First off, thank you for calling in. I don't even know where to begin. What did the entity that it led you to the craft, do you remember any of its features? Did it have like the bulbous head, the big almond shaped eyes, like you would associate with a gray? I know you said it wasn't a gray, but like what were some of the features?
The only way it comes close to that resembling is on that Steven Spielberg movie. What was it? Encounters of the Third Kind or something, where it was similar to that. Its eyes weren't really large. They were large, but they weren't like super large. It came up to my chest. Could not tell if it was a male or a female. I just kind of assumed it was male, and I don't, nothing gave me that impression outwardly that it was conveying to me. It was just, I just assumed it was a male. In retrospect, again, I did not see any type of genitalia on it. I don't know if it was wearing clothes or if it's just some type of, that's how it is. So there was, if it had clothes, it was totally out of this world, I could not tell. So
that is so wild. Did you ever feel threatened or feel like they were malicious at any point?
Not at all. I didn't get the feeling that they were, friendly or dangerous. In retrospect, I just don't think I was there to serve a purpose, and that was to get its crewmate out and bury it out of the ship. But no, I didn't feel any type of ill will towards me. It was just, hey, I need some lackey to get my buddy out and bury it, and that's all I need, So
yeah.
It's bizarre.
And I've read a lot of accounts where people have encountered crafts and they say exactly the same thing that you did. Like no human would be able to fit. It's almost like these machines are made specifically for the number of occupants and the entities that are piloting them.
Yeah, it was just, I was just about 12 inches maybe at the time taller, maybe, between 12 and 15 inches taller, maybe, if that. But there was no way I was fitting in that craft. And, back in, I think it was 2017, my wife and I were flying back from Costa Rica, and we were in the plane. I had a window seat. She was in the middle. We were above the cloud coverage. And both of us were looking out the window. I didn't know she was looking out the window. I just happened to be looking out the window, just kind of gazing out. And this orb, same size as the one when I was a kid, flew right by the tip of the wing. If I would have been sitting on that wingtip, I would have been able to reach out and touch it. I wanted to ask the pilot at the time when we left if he saw it, but he wasn't out, greeting the people as they left. He was, still in the cockpit. So I don't know what, it's like the Tic Tacs. I know they're kind of long or look like a Tic Tac. This was circular. But, whenever I see those small orbs, that they take pictures of in space, I know exactly what's in it. It's two white alien creatures. And, and, I don't know. I'm kind of, undecided about the spaceship. I don't know if there's like a mineral out there that has its own intelligence or feelings or whatever and can do that type of stuff, or if those creatures actually create it like a tulpa, where it's designed strictly and they can control it, and it works in symbiotic relationship with those creatures inside. And that's why I can do the acrobats and all that, and breakneck turns and defy gravity and so forth. So that's, I kind of lean one way, and then, sometimes I lean the other. And but that's all I can really tell you about that incident. Growing up, I think the ship affected me in other ways than when it communicated with me. I don't know why it did, but anyhow, I've been really susceptible to other people's feelings and stuff. They don't have to speak them. I just kind of know how people are feeling, if they're deceptive or, if they're whatever, I just kind of pick up on, I know how to read people, even if they're, holding the cards close to their chest. So, but,
that made you more or less like an empath.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Or maybe you were an empath, and that's why it came to you to begin with.
Oh yeah, good call.
Because you were maybe it knew that you were capable of communicating with it.
I mean, I never thought of that. That's a very strong possibility.
That they knew you weren't They knew you weren't a threat.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I never ever thought about that. I kind of thought maybe it was the ship had affected me kind of mentally. But you're right. That could be that maybe, it knew where to go, I'm just curious if other people have type of encounter and just don't remember it yet, I've got to believe that there's other instances out there where something similar to this has happened, I hear people talk about like they think aliens are demons or this or that or machines, but a demon doesn't die, a machine doesn't die. So I know that whatever these creatures were are definitely some type of organic life form, if they can die, get sick, fall ill and die.
Yeah.
So,
That's a valid point.
I gotta ask this question. Did you have any visits from like weird government entities after that? Like weird SUVs, Men in Black stuff? Because you are like, that's kind of the trope that goes with these things. Did anybody ever come to your home or your property asking any weird
No.
questions? No.
Never. The road that I grew up on was sort of a dead end road. Never had any type of encounter like that,
Right on.
So, I don't know. Maybe that only happens with certain types of aliens, but it certainly didn't happen with me. I still have family members living there. That's why I don't mind divulging where the county it was at. I just don't want to, divulge the particular area.
Well, for sure.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
I also have, I know that's, and I don't expect anybody to believe this, but it is what it is. And
We have no reason not to believe you.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, dude.
I mean, it's way out there, so, so if you believe me, fine. If not, fine. I'm not going to judge you because, it's just a weird off the wall event in my life. But I've got a couple others too, not so way out there, but one sort of a ghost encounter, if you want to hear that.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Back in 2015, the job I was working for, we one of our accounts was a large church. I'm not going to divulge the county because as soon as I would say it, anybody that lived in that area would know where it's at. And, I don't want people out there camping out in the cemetery waiting for an apparition to appear. But anyhow, we were doing takeoffs for an exterior paint job and some other carpentry work at the time. It was me and the owner standing on. It was a weekday. No one was there, and typically the administrator would let us know if there was some type of event that day where why we couldn't do it, like a sudden funeral came up or a wedding or so forth. Then we'd have to come another day. So we were kind of given the go ahead to do the takeoffs or whatever, and we were standing up at the door of one of the sanctuaries on this property, and it's elevated. It's a brick porch stoop like. So anyhow, this whole guy comes out of nowhere. I mean, literally out of nowhere. He's probably in his late 70s. Just as pale as can be. And he comes up the steps. He's probably about maybe 5 feet away from us. And he's like, do you know what time the funeral is? And, we both mentioned, there is no funeral today, or else we would have been told. And he's like, okay, thank you. So he walks down the steps, goes around this shrub, and is gone. Both of us, we each, the owner we each look at each other and like, that was a ghost. That person was dead. So anyhow, I quit that company and ran into the owner. So I think it was last year sometime. And I was asking her, I'm like, hey, you remember that incident at the church that time? And she says, oh yeah, let me tell you something that'll really blow your doors off. She says, we were there late one night trying to finish up in the sanctuary so they could have service or a wedding or whatever. I forgot exactly what she told me that they were having, and they were trying to just do some fixer-upper type stuff in the sanctuary. And she says a bad thunderstorm came up, and she said there was a lightning lit up the whole area, and she said that cat was out in the cemetery just standing there. So
the exact same guy you saw.
Yeah, those exact same
Wow.
guys.
What?
Gosh, no, the hell out of there.
Oh, that's so weird, man. Because at first, like, it made me want to think that maybe it's some type of residual, but then the fact that it communicated, and then it gets seen randomly later on through a thunderstorm out in the middle of the cemetery is absolutely bizarre.
Man,
Yeah. He was physical there was literally a person standing. You couldn't see through him. It was there was a body there, and then, he turns around and goes down the steps and walks past this large shrub or spruce, no, it was a cedar, I think it was, and it's gone. We would have seen his car. We would have seen a vehicle pull up because where we were at, we had access to the entryway. We would have noticed vehicles coming in, didn't see anything. So yeah, we kind of thought that, hey, it was his funeral he was trying to go to, but so that's that one. And then if you can, if you have like a good email, I want to email you a couple photographs my wife took on her. She had an iPhone 10 at the time. And out here at her property, she just loves to go around taking pictures of the property and stuff. And I was sitting out on the front steps. It was like, I think it was maybe around 5-ish in the afternoon, sun was in the west. So she's walking around taking photographs of the yard. So later that night, she's like, hey, I'm going to show you something. And she hands me her phone. And in the front of our yard, there's this like emerald circle, a light just kind of, it's under a tree. The sun is in the background, but this is in the shade. And there's this like emerald, brilliant light of just emanating like from the yard, from the ground. It's like a circle of light right there underneath the tree on the ground. And inside this picture, this photograph is like some white beings. like of light. They're only about a few inches high, but I kind of, that's the nice thing about the iPhone is you can kind of expand the picture and then snap it, and then take a picture of that picture, a screenshot. But I mean, the images are light. There's like either 3 or 4 some type of like light entities in there, and they're in a circle, almost like they're having like a meeting or something. And they appear to have some type of it looks like wing structure. So I don't know, I don't know what they are. I don't know. But I can send you,
Please.
send you that photo.
Please.
Definitely do.
Yes.
I know you've got people listening and all that stuff, but for right now, I'd like to kind of keep the picture low key. I don't want to be jinxed and have these things come back with an vengeance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It could be anything, man. It could be a portal. It could be a face circle. I just
oh, dude, the face circle. I didn't even think about that.
Well, that's what I was. That's the word I was thought. Maybe they were like phase. I guess I just kind of think of their name. You're right, but I hear people who've said they've seen phase, but I didn't know that they're light beings. These are definitely like light beings. And it's like they're having a meeting. Like a little huddle, and there's just an emerald light that's just emanating out from them.
I love it. I love it.
So
I'm ready to
see
I will.
I mean, I can text it to you now.
I mean, yeah. You're more than
that
welcome
works.
to text the phone. You send it over to whatever email. It doesn't matter.
Does this phone that I'm talking to you on, does that accept text or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll text you the photographs.
Please
it's going to
do.
be main one, and it's going to be the ones that I've kind of blown up where you can kind of see these light beings in the circle. And so yeah, I'll get those over to you ASAP.
Awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
I'm stoked.
Those are all my life experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah.
I when I read that, I'm like, Kyle, I'm like, I can't even do it justice reading the email.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have to hear this story.
Yeah.
This is
it's fantastic.
Perfect.
Like what a way to start the first the first live episode. Dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
It is wonderful. Yes.
No, my pleasure, man. Like I say, I like you guys a whole lot. I enjoy listening to your program, and if I was, going to come out publicly and share that story, I wanted it to be with, you two, because it was, so, because you're decent guys, you're the type of guys I could sit down and, have a beer with or whatever and shoot the shit, and
yes,
so, but man, I won't monopolize any more time. I know there's probably people waiting behind me to call in, but I really appreciate you answering the phone and letting me say my piece. So.
Absolutely.
We're glad you're here. We're glad you're hanging out with us.
I'm all smiles, man. I'm all smiles.
Well,
I couldn't be happier.
Well, man. Well, like I say, I don't expect anybody to believe that story. My wife, I told she believes it, but she one time told our neighbors behind us, and he's a clown, and every time I see him, he's got to throw a UFO, whip at me, So
some people just don't get it.
No.
Well, and the funny thing is, I think his wife does tarot readings, and it's like, hey, guy.
Yeah, right.
What are we doing here? Come on. Come on.
But, so I'm not throwing shit at card readers. I've known some that were really impressive, but I just kind of thought it was funny how he kind of throws shade at me, and yet his wife is doing something that a ton of people think is ludicrous. So
right,
but
exactly.
hey, it is. But all right, guys, man, I won't keep you anymore. I really appreciate it, and look forward to hearing more of your stories. A matter of fact, that's the first thing I do Monday when I get to work is I pull up your podcast and put on my earbud and get to work and kind of listen to what you got to say. So just make sure you keep them coming, because those Mondays where they don't show up in my on my podcast, it's sort of like a long day. So
we're doing our best, brother. We're
That's
doing
right.
our best.
all right, well, listen, guys, thanks again, and y'all have a good one. Okay, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. You too,
Right
buddy.
on. Stay safe and stay
All right, man.
weird out there, my friend.
All right.
Likewise, brothers. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
How cool is
Bro.
that? How cool is that?
First night shift episode, we get the alien burial.
Alien burial and
Fate.
Bigfoot.
Bayou Bigfoot. I don't even know what to say right now.
I couldn't be happier. This is awesome.
This is our life now, Kyle.
Yeah. Yep. This is awesome.
I don't even know. It's so dope. It's so
It is
dope.
awesome. And like
I almost
said,
feel like
go ahead.
we should have just opened the lines up right off the rip. You know?
Hey, we might start doing that. You know, I think this is just going to kind of be like a off the whim radio show style type of program. Like we're not really trying to come in with tons of research and all that stuff. It's just us coming together
Off the cuff.
like if you saw an article on Twitter, we talked about it for a minute, and then we just kind of let it evolve and snowball from there. Like Kenneth said, you know, just winging it. That's the holocult way. Like this is what we do.
That's facts.
Yeah, and there's no harm in that. And like I said, it's been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
And the interaction in here, especially with us, only like we didn't even make mention of it until like 30 minutes before we went live.
Right.
And like we had at one point almost 40 people in here from what I heard.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. We're at 37.
That's dope.
And
That
it's
unreal.
been pretty solid, which is great.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would like to try to do this every Wednesday, if not every other Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, we're
Just
gonna
to try to get, because middle of the week is a really good day in my opinion. Because what are we doing? We're not really doing much, you know, because we got to get up and go to work tomorrow. So the fact that we can kind of run it like a late night show type of deal, yeah, no doubt. But we started at 8:00, and if we run for an hour, 2 hours, and see where we're at,
seeing how the holocult's feeling.
yeah, yep, dude, this has been awesome. Like I couldn't be
can't
happier.
Get over.
I couldn't be happier.
That was the first two calls to night
Yeah.
shift. Was
So cool.
Bayou Siren Bigfoot and Fae Portal Alien Burial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And Colleen will definitely. This was a last minute thing. Super crazy last minute.
We had a interview schedule and they got sick, so we're like, man, we already blocked the timeout. We've been flirting with this idea for a little bit anyway, so we're like, you know what? Let's whip it together and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we'll probably, me and Kyle will get together and we'll try to schedule it, and then we will post it up probably hours in advance. That way everybody can get in there and get their weirdness together and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, because this is like the first time I've even messed with this program, so I don't know anything about it. But Steve was like, "Hey, I think you can schedule it and this, that, and the other." So we got it figured out. So
we literally had Kyle's wife calling in like 10 minutes before we went live just to make sure that the phone calls worked.
Yeah, we totally did. So,
I also want to make note that this will go out. This whole episode will go out as an extra show. So all of our podcast listeners that tune into this and have kept listening up until this point, be sure to watch the socials if you want to be part of the live. Then you can come over here to YouTube, and eventually it'll be on Facebook and Instagram, maybe Twitter, and then you can be part of the chat, call in.
Right.
That's kind of how we hope this builds, is that we will live stream, then post it as extra content, and then the podcast listeners will hear, and then they'll come over and be part of the chat, part of the call-ins, and we'll just kind of let this thing build on top of one another.
Yep, that's the idea. Like I said, I'll probably try to post, as long as I can figure out how to get the audio and stuff from this, which should be pretty easy. But regardless, get the audio from it. I'll probably try to post it next week or the week after, depending on, you know, how much editing I got to do with the normal show and all that stuff. But yeah, but that way, like Steve said, if you miss it, you're still going to be able to catch it. I'm going to label it as like night shift, you know, so it'll be its own, it'll be through our feed, but it'll be just called Night Shift Episode 1. And I'll run it like that. So,
yep. We'll just hopefully it'll turn into its own thing, and then that'll be extra content for you all. A good way to interact. Like I said, it's great having you all here.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Being able to kind of live interact. I know I wasn't keeping up very well with the chat, but I'm working on it. Like I said, my internet's about 10 minutes behind everything that's actually going on. So
yeah, and then I'm not going to talk about any more making moves publicly. So just be ready. This isn't the only thing extra we're going to be doing.
There's some other stuff coming down the line. So it's going to be a weird year in 2023. Let me tell you.
Let's kill it.
But I just want to thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. I know it's a Wednesday night. Everybody's tired from slumping through the work week, but we appreciate you all being here.
Yeah. But I think we're about ready to call her a night.
Yeah, we're going to pop off here. 4 o'clock's going to be rolling around real quick. So until next time, my friends, stay safe, stay weird, and we appreciate each and every one of you.